Welcome to Along the Forest Apps Road. Hi, I'm Tim Ard, and today we're going to be discussing a little on saw chain. Is chain chain? Is there a difference in chain? What's the big deal? Some people say that chain is chain and price is the real difference. Some people say chain is chain and they like one brand over another because one is faster, one is harder, one is easier to sharpen, one says stays sharp longer, etc., etc. I've noticed one very common thread in all chain. It's either sharp or it's getting dull. I've used Oregon saw chain for many years. I think it is superior chain not only because of the time-proven design, but because the people that make it are fantastic. It does the job for me and everything I've tried to cut with it to date. To be very truthful, the biggest concern I have with their saw chain is my ability to sharpen it. I remember for years and still today pushing the fact hard in training. The fact that an understanding of the cutter tooth will help us maintain saw chain properly. One way the engineers at Oregon Cutting Systems, now Oregon Tools, made this clear to me was when they asked me to bring a used chain to a training session at the plant in Clackamas, Oregon. They asked me to specifically bring in a loop that I had sharpened to my best ability. They placed my chain on an opaque projector-looking device that compared my sharpened cutters to a new loop of chain. Wow, how embarrassed I was. My angles were imperfect. My eye had missed a lot of damage areas, and what did this mean? My sharpening skills had some sharpening of their own to complete. Never-ending work in progress. Chain is never dulled or sharpened exactly the same way. Damage to the cutters and the skill of the operator to remove it are the differences. Chain repair is somewhat like trees, always different. Remember, if you know what results you plan, results are easier to achieve. How can we ever achieve the best in ability if there is no baseline established? My point is, concentrating on the 5 parts, you will know when you achieve results. These parts are, number 1, the depth gauge. Number 2, the point or working corner. 3, top plate angle. 4, side plate angle. And 5, the top plate chisel angle. You can find more details on these at our website at www.forestapps.com and visit the Tim's Tips link for the information. Now, once you've familiarized yourself with the goal, let's look at the kicker a while. There are several great filing devices available on the market. Possibly one of the best and quickest is still the bench grinder. Some folks detest using a grinder on a saw chain. They say it burns the tooth, causing it to lose its temper. It makes it hard or makes it too soft. My theory is it may not be the grinder, it may be the grindee. If the grinder isn't set up and adjusted properly, and sometimes given to practice positive results, most likely a negative job will be had. Too often, operators try to take off way too much, way too fast with a chain grinder. With handheld devices, such as the same and can be true. In all my days, or at least the last 12 years or so, I've been using handheld sharpening devices like the Oregon sharpening tools, or the Husqvarna Roller Combi Guide, or the Husqvarna Sharp Force Furred Chain Sharp. I've had great results with all of these tools. All of them will complete the task with excellence. I think the Sharp Force Furred tool is the fastest and easy to use of any handheld device I've tried. My next comment, are these handheld devices accurate? The same as with the bench grinder. It depends on the understanding and practice of the operator. Some common considerations are to make sure the top is filed correctly. Try to line the filing device with the tooth top cutting edge or the witness mark to maintain the designed angle. Hold the file and or device with your thumb on top of the handle so as you file through, your elbow moves in a straight line instead of a curved motion. And position your body correctly behind the top angle of the cutter. When stroking or pushing the file, apply pressure only to the forward stroke. Most all files cut only in the forward stroke. If you apply pressure in the return stroke, the file will be dulled and possibly your cutter edges also. Apply pressure toward the side angle of the cutter. Don't press down as you file forward, but with more of a back pressure. You want to maintain the file position in the cutter so the top radius of the file is approximately 1/5 or 20% above the top plate and point. Too much down pressure on the file or device will cause the file to ride under the top plate chisel angle and cause the cutter to be hooked. This thins out the chisel angle and the point, the working corner, causing possible premature dulling and also could cause sticking, grabbing of the tooth in the wood fiber. Not enough correctly applied pressure will let the file ride high on the cutter and cause a flattened chisel angle. Excessive down pressure on the filing device, like depth gauge tools or sharp force tools, can cause depth gauge settings to be lower than specifications. Make sure these devices are held perpendicular to the bar to ensure a flat filing of the depth gauge. Depth gauges need to be checked closely. We do this after filing to make sure they are shaped properly. As the depth gauge or raker is taken down, the front edge will become flat or sharp. The front needs to be rounded slightly to maintain its original radius. Look over every cutter on the loop carefully. You want to identify any bent links or cracks on the rivets or tie straps also. Especially look at each cutter to make sure the 5 tooth parts are not damaged and are maintained at the proper angles. Bent links and straps can cause the chain to not track correctly. If they're binding in the rivets or tight on the bar rail, the chain will most likely chatter or grab when cutting. These situations need to be repaired or the loop discarded. A properly sharpened chain will cut as fast and smooth as a new one if you make sure everything is filed correctly. You are in control of your sharpening device, so don't just sharpen to be sharpening. Manage and practice positive results. We hope you enjoyed this particular episode, picked up a little bit on saw chain filing, and be able to apply it on your saw and your wood cutting. And please be careful. Saw filing can change the reactive forces on the chainsaw, and you want to make sure that chain is set correctly for safety. And don't forget to wear your personal protective gear. Well, this is Tim Ard, wishing you good sawing, and drop back by. Please subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors, and we'll see you along the Forest Apps Road.